She likes your photos. She laughs at your jokes. She texts you back within 3 minutes. Most men call this love. Most men are wrong. Dead wrong. Attention is not love. Validation is not loyalty. Infatuation is just a chemical fire that burns fast and leaves nothing but cold ash. You're staring at your phone at 2 a.m. The blue light is searing your retinas. You're waiting for a 3-dot bubble to appear. You think that bubble is your future. It's not. It's a cage. You've been sold a lie. A modern filtered high-definition lie. We've been taught to chase the spark. But a spark is just a precursor to a fire you can't control. The Stoics, men like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, didn't look for a spark. They looked for a foundation. They didn't look for a woman to fix their lives. They looked for a woman who could stand in the storm with them without looking for an exit. Think about the last 3 women you chased. Recall the late-night anxiety, the guessing games, the feeling of walking on eggshells. That wasn't a relationship. That was a transaction of insecurities. In the next 20 minutes, we're going to strip away the filters. We're going to look at 11 unmistakable signs that she isn't just a passing season, but a woman built for the long haul. These aren't the signs you'll find in a lifestyle magazine. These are psychological anchors. The 8th sign? It's the one most men mistake for a red flag. They run away from it. But in reality, it's the only reason you should ever stay. If you're tired of the chase, stop. Put the phone down. Listen. Because if she doesn't show these signs, you aren't building a life. You're just renting a tragedy. Meet Mark. Mark is successful. He has the car, the career, and a woman who looks like a dream on his arm. At dinner, Mark is talking about a promotion, a pivot in his company, a risk that keeps him up at night. But she isn't looking at Mark. She's looking at the reflection of the candlelight in her wine glass. She's checking her notifications. She's present, but she's absent. Mark thinks he's in love. Stoicism says Mark is in a hostage situation. The first sign she's built for the long haul isn't a grand gesture. It's respect for your mission. A woman who loves you doesn't just love you, the guy who takes her to dinner. She respects the work you do when she's not there. She respects your time. She respects your silence. She respects your boundaries. If you tell her you need 4 hours of deep work, does she pout? Does she weaponize her insecurity to pull you back into her orbit? A high-value woman knows that a man without a mission is a man without a soul. She doesn't try to shrink your world so she can be the center of it. She expands your world so you have more room to grow. That leads us to the second anchor, presence over performance. In a world of digital noise, attention is the most expensive currency. Watch her when you speak, not when you're telling a joke, not when you're being the man. Watch her when you're tired, when your voice is flat. Does she put the phone face down? Does she look at your eyes or just pass them? A woman built for the long haul understands the Stoic concept of amicizia, a deep, soul-level friendship. She isn't there for the highlight reel. She's there for the raw footage. And then there's the third sign, the one Mark misses every single time, the gift of space. Modern dating tells us that closeness is the goal. Constant texting, constant updates, constant tethering. But constant tethering leads to strangulation. A woman who truly values you knows that you are a sovereign individual. She doesn't view your need for solitude as a threat to her existence. When you say, "I need to go for a drive alone," she doesn't ask why with a tone of suspicion. She says, "I'll see you when you get back." She knows that a man who can sit with himself is a man who can be better for her. She's not a vacuum sucking up your energy. She's a reservoir giving you a place to rest. Mark doesn't have this. Mark has a woman who needs to be fed attention every 60 minutes. He's exhausted. He's aging twice as fast as he should. He thinks this is passion. It's not passion. It's a parasite. But here is the catch. Even if she respects your mission and gives you space, there is a darker test coming. A test that happens when the lights go out and the world starts to crumble. Most relationships survive the sun. Very few survive the eclipse. And that brings us to the emotional fortress. The storm has arrived. Mark's promotion? It didn't just fall through. The company downsized. Mark is 42, standing in a parking lot, holding a cardboard box filled with 15 years of his life. His hands are shaking. His pulse is a hammer against his ribs. He's not the provider anymore. He's not the winner. In the modern world, this is where most relationships evaporate. Because most people are in love with your position, not your person. But watch her when Mark walks through the front door. Sign 4. She is your inner citadel. When your world is screaming, she doesn't add to the noise. She becomes the silence. She doesn't ask, "What are we going to do about the mortgage?" Before she asks, "Are you okay?" A woman built for the long haul understands that your value isn't tied to a paycheck. She practiced stoicism before she ever knew the word. She knows that fortune is fickle, but character is permanent. Does she panic? Or does she stand still? The storm is here. She stays. That leads to sign 5, radical honesty, the Stoic Mirror. Most men think a loving woman is one who agrees with everything they say. They are wrong. A woman who loves you for the long haul is the only person brave enough to tell you when you're being a coward. She doesn't insult you. She reminds you of who you are. "Mark," she says, looking him dead in the eye, "you're feeling sorry for yourself. Stop. You are a man of discipline. Start acting like it." She's not a cheerleader, she's a coach. She doesn't validate your excuses, she destroys them. That's not cruelty, that's the highest form of love. It's called prosoch, constant attention to virtue. Sign 6, the consistency of the tide. In your 20s, you wanted intensity. The highs, the lows, the makeup sex after the screaming matches. At 35, you realize intensity is a young man's game. At 45, you realize it's a death sentence. A woman built for the long haul is consistent. She is the same person on a rainy Tuesday as she was on a sunny Saturday. Her mood isn't a weather vane. Her loyalty isn't a commodity. Her love isn't a reward for your good behavior. She is steady. She is reliable. She is boring in the best possible way. And finally, sign 7, the protection of the tribe. Listen to how she talks about you when you're not in the room. Or better yet, when you've just failed. Does she vent to her friends about your weakness? Does she leak your insecurities to her family? Or does she defend your name like it's her own? A Stoic partner knows that a relationship is a closed circle. Whatever happens inside stays inside. She guards your reputation more fiercely than you guard your own. To her, your honor is her honor. Mark looks at her across the kitchen table. He's broke. He's scared. But she's looking at him like he's the same man she met 10 years ago. She isn't looking at the box on the floor. She's looking at the man in the chair. But don't get comfortable. Because even a woman this strong has a breaking point. And it's not what you think. It's not money. It's not status. It's the one thing that most men do unconsciously every single day that slowly kills a woman's soul. Are you doing it? The silence in the apartment isn't peaceful. It's a blade. Mark forgot. Again. Not her birthday. Not their anniversary. He forgot to see her. For 3 weeks, Mark has been a ghost, buried in his laptop, chasing the ghost of his lost career. He thinks he's working for them. He thinks he's being a provider, but he's actually being a coward. He's hiding in his work because he's afraid to face the reality of his failure. And here comes sign 8, the gift of constructive conflict. Most men run when a woman starts a talk. They see the tension as a red flag. They want a chill girl, a girl who never complains. The Stoics would call that a trap. A woman who is built for the long haul doesn't stay silent when you're drifting into mediocrity. She confronts you. She creates friction. She challenges your neglect. But watch how she does it. She doesn't attack your character. She attacks the distance between you. She isn't trying to win an argument. She's trying to save the union. If she stopped caring, she'd stop fighting. Her anger is the last signal that she's still invested. If she's still annoying you about your potential, you're lucky. The day she becomes chill is the day she's already halfway out the door. That leads to the rarest gem of all, sign 9, the 2 most difficult words. I'm sorry. In the modern world, accountability is a dying art. We are taught to be victims. We are taught that our feelings are always right. A high-value woman, a stoic partner, knows that her feelings are real, but they aren't always reality. Watch her after the dust settles. Does she double down on her pride? Does she wait for you to crawl back and apologize for things she started? Or does she come to you, take your hand, and say, I overreacted. I was hurt, but I shouldn't have said those things. Mark is stunned. He was ready for a war. She gave him a bridge. This is intellectual humility. It's the engine of a 50-year marriage. Finally, sign 10, the horizon test. Most people live in 24-hour cycles. They want the dopamine hit now, the vacation now, the validation now. But a woman built for the long haul lives in decades. Look at her sacrifices. Mark is struggling. Money is tight. The luxury version of their life has been stripped away. Does she look at the empty space where the designer bags used to be? Or does she look at the blueprint for the new business Mark is sketching on a napkin? She's not a passenger on your ship. She's the co-captain. When the rations are low, she doesn't demand your share. She splits her share with you. This is what the Stoics called oikeiosis, the expansion of the self to include the other. Your hunger is her hunger. Your win is her win. Most men chase a woman who wants to be at the finish line. You need the woman who wants to be at the starting blocks when it's raining. But wait, there is one final sign. Sign 11. It's the mirror. It's the part of this video where you stop looking at her and you start looking at the man in the glass. Because there is a terrifying truth about high-value women that nobody wants to tell you. Here is the terrifying truth I promised you. The truth that Mark finally realized as he looked at the woman across the table. A high-value woman, a woman built for the long haul, is not a prize you win. She is a mirror. She reflects exactly who you are. If you are weak, she will leave. If you are dishonest, she will detach. If you are stagnant, she will outgrow you. Which brings us to sign 11, the catalyst. She doesn't just love you as you are. She loves you for who you are capable of becoming. And she refuses to let you settle for less. She is the only person in the world who won't let you lie to yourself. When you say you're tired, she asks if you're actually undisciplined. When you say it's impossible, she reminds you of your previous victories. She is a catalyst for your greatness. But here is the catch. Greatness is painful. And most men would rather have a woman who coddles their ego than a woman who sharpens their soul. Stoicism isn't just about enduring pain. It's about seeking virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." You spent the last 20 minutes looking for signs in her. Now, look at the signs in you. Are you a man who deserves the loyalty of a woman who is built for the long haul? Are you a man of your word? Are you a man with a mission larger than his own comfort? Are you a man who can lead himself before he tries to lead her? If you want a woman like the one we described, you cannot be the man you were yesterday. You cannot be the man who checks his phone at 2 a.m. for a hit of validation. You cannot be the man who blames modern dating for his own lack of character. The search is over. The signs are clear. But the most important sign isn't in her eyes. It's in your actions, starting now. Stop looking at the screen. Look at the mirror. Be the man she's waiting for.